culture, do it for the culture, do it for the culture, do it for the culture. I gotta grind, I gotta shine.
It's for the
It's my time.
culture.
Hey, but I'm
What's going on, family? This is your girl, Tay Jordan. This is episode 7 of For the Culture podcast. And I have leaders of the culture here. You guys may know them as Rashad and Troy. They are the host of the iconic Earn Your Leisure podcast. Troy and Rashad, welcome to the show. Thanks for your time.
Thank you for having us. I like that intro. I like that. We might have to run with that.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. So I've been wanting to get you guys on the show. You know, at first I was like, I kind of probably should get my listenership up to where it's like popping. But I'm like, this is along the content of exactly that I want to provide for the culture. Everything I do is for the culture. And you guys, I first found out about your podcast. I think the first episode I watched was DJ Envy and was it what is his name? Landlord of the Slum
The slums,
Lord.
Yeah.
Fernando, yeah. Envy and was in. That was a good one. That's a good place to start.
yeah. So I wasn't like episode 1, but I did go back. So I was like, bruh, this is really good. What else they got? So I went back and I listened to your guys' stuff, and I've been with you guys ever since. And I just really, you got to give people their flowers while they're here. I think what you guys are doing is legendary. I think it's definitely filling a void. So I just want to tell you guys I appreciate you both for sure. I love your movement.
Thank you. Thank you for your support.
And we all fitted in the right apparel, so that makes it even better.
Yeah. So take me back for those that's not familiar with EYL or Your Leisure in the movement. Take me back to how it became a podcast and how you guys got started.
Yeah, so before it wasn't a podcast, to be honest with you. It started out as a summer program that I was doing in a community, and I teach. So like one of the things I knew was like the kids were being undereducated, and so in the 6 weeks that I had for this internship program, I was like, look, I want certain things to be a part of the program that are not being taught in school, right? Like kids don't get taught how to write a resume. They don't get taught how to, prepare for an interview. And I know they don't get taught financial literacy. And one of the components of the program was that they were going to be paid at the end. So it was going to be their first time. They were 14-year-old teenagers. And I was like, listen, they need financial literacy. And at the same time, I was starting the program. Rashad was starting his financial advising career. So I was like, look, bro, I'm about to do this program. I want you to come in and teach financial literacy. And at first he was like, nah, he was like, I really don't like doing the school thing. I'm like, nah, I just need you to be the face for it. Like, it'll be like scheduled. We'll come in Mondays and you can just talk about finance. And we taught kids about the fundamentals of economics and finance. And it kind of grew from there. Like, I used to like come up with the plans and then like, yo, just teach it. And then after a while, he was coming in with his own lesson plans and teaching it. And like, that's how it kind of started on the route. And then I guess you want to talk about how the role Val played or?
Yeah, that's pretty much, the fundamentals of it. And then, from social media, I just decided to just kind of grow up my social media brand. And then as like a financial person on social media, and then people wanted extended dialogue, like more than just 60-second clips. So people kept asking for a podcast, and, thought that a podcast would be a good way to just, kind of give a more extended dialogue about financial topics that we were talking about online on Instagram. So I asked Troy if he wanted to be my partner on the podcast, and that's the rest is history.
Yeah, that was it. It was like, yo, let's come up with a name. And at the time, he when he was making his own personal brand, we were just like supporting him, the whole team. And he was like, yo, I need a hashtag for my whole movement. And I was kind of like, I got one. And he was like, what is it? I'm like, yo, Earn Your Leisure. And he was like, I'm not sure about it.
Uh-huh.
But then he started using it, and it was working for him. Like it was like growing. It was like his own thing. Like nobody else was using that. And then he kind of stopped. And then I think somebody was like, yo, what happened to Earn Your Leisure? What is that hashtag? And so when he started realizing like, yo, I'm gonna use it again, he started putting it in as his own hashtag for his personal page. And then when it was time to come up with a podcast name, we were kind of going back and forth with names. And I'm like, yo, like we kind of just agreed, like, yo, Earn Your Leisure, nobody else is using it. We kind of created it. Let's use that as the podcast name. Because a lot of times, especially in our neighborhood, in our communities, like people see the end result, but they never see the hard work that goes into it. So it kind of was fitting. It kind of like encompassed everything that we had grown up and experienced. Like people assume that we have money. People assume that we have life easy. People assume that things have been given to us. They never see the hard work that goes into it. So like Earn Your Leisure kind of felt like, yeah, that's perfect for what we're trying to do.
That's dope. That's dope. I think it's definitely, fitting. I think that the hashtag, I mean, everybody wants leisure, but, people don't realize you actually got to earn your leisure. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's dope. So take me back. So for the financial literacy program with the youth, when did you guys start that? First of all, how do you guys know each other?
Oh, we from the same neighborhood. We grew up together. He's like 2 years younger than me.
Okay.
Yeah. So we grew up together, best friends.
New York, right? What part of New York you guys from?
We from Greenberg.
Yeah, Westchester is like right outside the city.
Yeah.
So,
okay. Oh, you got money. I'm just playing.
Exactly.
Nah, Westchester is actually, it's ironic because a lot of people do look at Westchester like it's a suburb, but all things, it's the haves and have-nots. But you have towns like where we come. It's like a working class town, but it's interesting because it's like a black suburb, really. So you got everything from like middle class black people where we're from to public housing.
Okay.
It's a middle class, working class neighborhood, and we met early on. I think I was like in sixth grade.
Oh wow, y'all go back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Grade, and then we just clicked and we just met, we clicked and just hit it off ever since. So we've been friends for like over 20 years. And
that's dope.
Yeah, so we always talk all the time, every day anyway. So the podcast is not really too much different from our normal routine because we was always talking, texting on the phone anyway. So now we just carry that over and we just do it in business now.
That's the crazy part is like, I remember when we used to have conversations, I'm like, yo, everybody's texting now, bro. You got to do that. And he was just like, nah, I ain't texting. I don't like texting, man. And then like, that's how far back we go. Before like texting was a cool thing. Right?
Okay. So y'all was doing the BBM joints and everything too. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, clicking on the Nextel, all that.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's what's up. Yeah, I'm familiar with New York. I'm originally from Cleveland. I know you're LeBron guys. I'm a LeBron girl myself, but I'm originally from Cleveland. But after undergrad, I ended up moving to Brooklyn. I lived in East New York for some time before I moved here to DC.
Yeah. So you live in DC now, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Brooklyn's our number one audience, man.
Yeah, that's our biggest support base.
Yeah,
Yeah, Brooklyn is lit for sure. Okay, so tell me a little bit about. So I know Troy. I know you're an educator, and Rashad. I know your background is in your financial advisor by trade. So in terms of the program that you guys started for, pertaining to the youth, why was that important? Do you think? Obviously, we know, especially our culture, we're not really taught financial literacy in school. Why was that so important?
Yeah, well, that's the number one reason. I knew it wasn't something that was being taught, and I knew that kids that were coming in contact with money were going to be frivolous with it, right? So like my thing was like, if we teach their parents, that's great, right? But if the root is to get them before they become adults. So I knew we had access to 14-year-olds. I knew we were going to be paying them, and it was like, yo, part of the payment is like you have to sit and you have to participate in this class.
Oh, it's a payment portion.
Yeah. So like based on they come for 6 weeks, and like twice a week they go to an internship, right? I interview them, and then they tell me what they want to be in the future, and then I go out in the city and I try to find businesses and entrepreneurs that are willing to take interns because they have that same aspiration at 14, right? So we get them early before they get to college and waste money on trying to find a major. And then twice a week, we're in the classroom learning lessons. Financial literacy was our Monday class. And then we had like etiquette classes on Thursdays. And then every Friday we took them on a recreational or educational trip. So some Fridays we went to like Great Adventures. Every other Friday we went to a college just so they could have experiences of what it is to be on college before they're freshmen, right? Like a lot of times, my first time being on college really was like when I went. I'm like, oh, this is different. You know what I mean? So we're trying to expose them to as many environments and as many situations as possible, and exposing them to finance was like definitely one of the things that we wanted to do.
That's what's up. That sounds extensive. Did you guys did you get corporate sponsors, or was this like all your brainchild, all your muscle, all your money?
So the crazy part is that the program actually existed in our town in Pittsburgh, and but it wasn't running to the best of its capabilities in my mind. So like it was like, yo, here's a blank canvas, create what you want. So I treated it like, yo, I'm gonna treat this like a 6-week school. And so like that's exactly what I did. I was like, all right, this is what we're gonna do. This is what we're gonna do every single day. We're gonna go to college. We're gonna prepare them. We're gonna do community outreach. We're gonna feed the homeless every Saturday. And so we treated it like, yo, this is a 6-week school. These are the things that school really should have. And so like the goal was to have that and extend it. The problem was like when school started, it was tough to get that same type of support from the town. But, you know, Earn Your Leisure actually is now supplementing that, because now I get the kids, they get to see us doing this. And it's like, yo, this is like what we were learning before.
Okay. Cool. So yeah, I think that's especially important, especially, you know, two Black men from the community. That's especially important. You probably even say as being an educator, you know, I don't know about you, but I didn't probably have my first Black teacher man.
Crazy.
It wasn't college. I think I did have one in junior high. My Mr. Smith. I didn't too much like him, but his presence was important. His presence was important. So I think that's especially essential for, you know, the youth to be learning from Black men. I think that's very, very important. So kudos for y'all for that. So let's talk about the podcast. Well, first of all, when did you guys start that program?
That 2010. This is 2020. Yeah, 2020.
Oh wow! So
we started. We're doing it for 10 years.
Oh, y'all been putting that work.
Yeah, that's why I said it didn't start as a podcast, right? Like we've earned this leisure, right? We've earned the position to be in where we at, because it's like, yo, those summer days and hot, like we in a hot band room. We're not even in a classroom, like, to be honest with you. We're in a band room. It's hot in the summer, but the kids love it. And you know what I'm saying? Like Shadi was volunteering his time at first. I mean, he feels it's like the whole time, really. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, we were just trying to give back and pour into our community the best way we knew how.
That's dope. So the podcast is number 10 in terms of business podcasts on iTunes, man. You guys just launched, what's that, January 2019?
Yeah.
So just exponential growth rapidly. Well, you guys probably wouldn't say rapidly because y'all been putting in work, you know, for this, 10 years in the making. So you definitely have earned your leisure. But just in terms of the podcast in particular, you about a year and a half in now. Did you guys know before you started out, like it was going to create this much steam? Has it blossomed into exactly what you envisioned, or has it surpassed even the vision?
Yeah, I don't really think we had expectations as far as that is concerned. Really, we just wanted to just put it out and see. We had low level of expectations. We wasn't really thinking about like it being successful or how many people listen and stuff like that. That, you know, as we put it out and we started to gain traction, then we started to think about it after that point. But originally, when we first put it out, I don't think that was the real focus. The main focus was just put out some content and just, you know, kind of like I said, just keep growing the brand. It wasn't really like a plan to like actually have like one of the top podcasts or anything like that.
Yeah, we didn't know that there was even rankings for podcasts until somebody told us. It was like, oh, okay. Yeah.
That's dope. So tell me about so I know that Rashad, you said that you originally you were working on building your individual brand. So where about were you in terms of your even your social media following there, and how you leveraged it for Earn Your Leisure? Do you think building your personal brand first is what helped create the momentum for Earn Your Leisure?
Yeah, definitely, 100%. I mean, that's why I tell people all the time, like sometimes you have to like take a step back and build something first before you build something else, because it's easier to build one platform off of another platform. So at the time when we started Earn Your Leisure, I had 30,000 followers. So I had a nice following, and people were engaged with me, and a couple of my videos was like going viral and stuff like that. So when launching Earn Your Leisure, it definitely helped it, because it's like, all right, I already have 30,000 people that I can actually, you know, try to position to follow Earn Your Leisure and then listen to the podcast. So that was something that, you know, took time to build that following. No, that didn't happen overnight either. That took like 2 years to build my personal following. But it definitely played a part in the Earn Your Leisure's growth. So, you know, everything is all connected. It's like it's like the body. Like one part is connected to the next part.
Right.
So that definitely helped. And like I said, that's a tip that I give people a lot. Is you know, if you're trying to build any type of platform, you know, think about building your own personal brand first, or building another platform first. It's always easy to piggyback off of one other thing, as opposed to like doing multiple things at the same time or stuff like that. So yeah, and you know, you see other people follow the same blueprint, like, you know,
right.
In EYL, they have one of the top podcasts in the world called $1 Million Worth of Game. They both have big followings before they started their podcast. So obviously that helped them have the top podcast now because they already had millions of followers that were following them. So you don't have to do that. You can just start a podcast from scratch, but it definitely helps. It definitely
For
helps
sure.
have a following for sure. Hello?
We good?
He froze.
Yeah.
Frozen?
Oh, there you go.
Oh,
You
there you
go.
Yeah.
Did you guys hear my question?
Nah, we hear it.
Froze.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, I was just asking. Obviously, you guys are the face of the brand. You know, we see Troy, we see Rashad, but I was just asking, what does the is it an extensive production team? What does that look like behind the scenes?
Yeah, I mean, the production team is really myself, Rashad, and our other partner, Mike. He's a third part of Earn Your Leisure. And then we got, a couple other team members. But from the production standpoint, it's like a really good system that we have going. You know, like we set up everything ourselves. All the equipment is ours. We don't have to rely on anybody. And we do everything ourselves, really. You know, Shadi listens to the audio. He's our editor. After he listens to it, I get the vocals, I chop them up, I send it to our tech guy, and the rest, is what y'all see every Tuesday on YouTube and on Anchor and wherever we distribute it.
Right. Okay, dope. Okay, so it would be wrong if I didn't get into what's going on outside. Some crazy conditions. So in terms of, I wanted to talk about the conditions of the current state of Black America. Rashad, I was just listening to one of your, I think it was a live that you posted on YouTube, and it was with Chris Senegal. And you touched on some really pertinent things. You were talking about Black people in particular, our need to always feel validation. And I'm a person that always is saying that, nobody's going to send us a boat. We can't expect the oppressors to all of a sudden become our saviors. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, and looking at the current state of Black America, R.I.P. George Floyd, R.I.P. Breonna Taylor, in light of what's going on right now, what do Black people need to do to change our current state in America?
I mean, it's a lot, I guess, but I mean, some of the first things is to become more self-reliant. Like I think Wall Street Trapper says a lot. If you rely on somebody to feed you, the same person can starve you. So it's economic empowerment. That's kind of the whole thing with our platform. So being self-reliant and being able to do for yourself and being able to practice group economics will help. That's a major step in the right direction as far as, not having to ask for things, not having to wait for stimulus packages and different grants and programs. Of course, that stuff is needed and it's helpful and, we deserve it, but, you can't hold your breath. We would love to have $1 million in reparations come tomorrow, but I'm not holding my breath for it. So
right.
Building economic foundation and, practicing group economics and having real sustainable businesses and scalable businesses and things of that nature. I think it's something that it can be done, and there's a template for it because other people have done it, other communities have done it. We've even done it in the past. So that's one step in the right direction. Sure.
Yeah. I'm with him with that. Like I hear the words equity, I hear the words equality, but I think economic empowerment should be that other E that people should be talking about because it's extremely important. The other E I think is extremely important is education. A lot of times, like we're not educated, and so then we're out of the know, right? So if we take this time, especially like right now, when everybody's home and has a lot of more time than they've usually had, educating yourself on anything, a skill, a hobby, or something that can rest you and your family for generations is extremely beneficial and definitely should be happening right now.
Right. And, Rashad, I know you mentioned that, it would be ideal to get reparations. We never did get our 40 acres and a mule. We all know that. But you guys are well in tune with things that's going on. So you're probably familiar with the ADOS movement. And do you guys think it's realistic that, any sense of reparations are actually going to come in our lifetime?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't want to shout out to them. shout out to them. Hopefully, I know they really been pushing for that. So hopefully we can. I'm not anti reparations. Like I said, I think it's a good. I think we deserve reparations.
Mm-hmm.
I think we deserve reparations. We built this country, and we never got compensated for it ever.
Mm-hmm.
And we only got hurdles put in our place, and other people have been getting reparations from different countries for years. It's not a foreign concept. I think America can afford to pay, and they should pay. I think that we should get reparations, but I'm not holding my breath for it.
Right.
I got, being in America, you understand, this how this game works.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I take the stance of, if it happens, great, but it's not something that I'm really, I don't even think about it. And I'm not even gonna say I'm optimistic or pessimistic. I don't even think about it, because I was like, if it happens, that's like a bonus, but it's not.
Right.
I'm not banking on reparations. I'm not even thinking about reparations. If it happens, great.
Yeah.
If not, I'm
Right.
not. You know what I'm saying? I'm moving forward, and we building our own society. We building our own, economic. We doing things ourselves with our community, our company, and that's what we've been doing. We're not asking anybody for anything. We're not demanding anybody for anything either. We doing it for ourselves. We providing for ourselves, and we putting food on our table. I think everybody should do that.
Yeah, that's kind of like our slogan. We're gonna be good either way. So if reparations
Mm-hmm.
come, said great. If it doesn't, we're gonna make sure that we're good either way.
Facts. I respect that. That's real talk there. So you mentioned about the need for economic empowerment, and we got to build our own boats. We got to, have our own sense of sustainability. With that being said, do you think that obviously we're aware of, Black Wall Street and stuff like that. A lot of people point to the civil rights movement, and it's like, we integrated, we got our freedoms, But with that being said, looking at integration, I know before Martin Luther King died, he kind of, what do you say? He felt as though he led his people into a burning building. I think towards the end of his life, he was kind of realizing that, integration wasn't necessarily the way to be liberated. Do you think present day 2020, looking back at it, obviously we're not dealing with Jim Crow, and that's great, but do you think integration kind of killed Black unity and Black empowerment?
I think that hindsight is always 20/20, right? So we don't want to look back and make disparaging remarks on people that sacrificed their life for good. But I feel that it definitely, everything has pros and cons. So I think that it has some cons. It definitely has some cons that I think people now are starting to realize, where it's like, a lot of the stuff, when we were forced to work with each other, we had to have a Black hotel, we had to have Black barbershops, we had to have everything Black, because we couldn't even go to anything that was white. But once we got, integrated into white society, a lot of that kind of stuff went wayside. So yeah, I think that, but I think ultimately integration had to happen, right? It's like, you can't help. It's not sustainable to just say, okay, Black people stay over here, white people stay over here. That's really not sustainable for a long period of time for anybody, in an intelligent, civilized society. That's not how society works.
Yeah.
So, but I think that, there's lessons in working with your own, and everybody does that. And it's like, that's something that we need to do more of. Group economics, group empowerment, and empower your own. There's no like Earn Your Leisure is a podcast for everybody. But, the people that we work with, the people that's in our circle, the people that come from our neighborhood, and that's all Black people. Not to say that the podcast is only for Black people, but of course we're going to take care of home base first before we take care of anything else. So I think that all of us should have that same mentality.
Yeah, I say it all the time. People are like, oh, y'all just for one community. I'm like, nah, we're for every community. The people,
Wow, people say that?
Yeah, we get that every now and then, but it's like the people who gravitate toward it most likely need it the most. And that's a lot of times is our community. Just go back to the fight for equality. I think a lot of people fought for equality, and I told you the other E that they really should be in tune with is equity. They're two different things, right? Equality is like, you have one, I have one, right? But if you've already started 300 years ahead, 400 years ahead, if you have one, you're already a step ahead, right? Because you've already started. Things have been put in place for you to have an advantage. So equity is like the real thing, and hopefully, that's a fight that people will put more effort into. You know what I'm saying?
Right. No, that's real. I'm reading this book right now by Dr. Claude Anderson. What is it? Black Labor, White Wealth. Are you guys familiar?
Nah.
So you guys definitely, you brothers definitely want to read some stuff by Dr. Claude Anderson. He actually had a Breakfast Club interview that was pretty dope. He also has a book called Pyronomics. Basically, he really talks about the why as to, obviously we know the disparities and the wealth gap between people of color and white people and what's going on in this country in terms of, just our conditions economically. So he just basically talks about how we got here and how we can solve it. And I think he really gives I think some realistic solutions. But I wanted to get back into this term validation. Um, I know y'all big Jay-Z fans. I am too. I'm a Rockefeller kid. I'm 32, by the way.
Yeah.
So I feel like Hov helped raise me. You know what I'm saying? So, but I wanted to talk about, just a few years ago, it was the Oscars so white, and we always are boycotting the Oscars and the Grammys and stuff like that. And we heard Hov say, F that 0 for 8 shit at the Grammys and stuff like that. Why? My question to you guys is this term validation. Like 444 could still be great musically without being validated by having a Grammy and stuff like that. Like we show up front and center for the Grammys and stuff like that, but we, skip out on BT. BT not even black owned, but that's neither here nor there. But in terms of why do we always feel the need to have this validation? Like Nipsey's album is still a great album, whether or not white people say it's hot or not. Why do us as a people always have to have this popular validation, like that step of approval? Like, yeah, it's Grammy worthy.
I mean, I think, part of it is, we don't really have much. We never have much. So, any establishment has been a white establishment. It's a white power structure. It's white everything. So we always looked at that as the pinnacle of making it. So it's like, when you like you said, the Source Awards or the BET Awards or whatever, that was cool, but it's not the Grammys. We're not looking at it like it's the Grammys because it's like the Grammys is by white people.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? So subconsciously, a lot of us still think that, white is superior, whether we admit it or not. A lot of us still white supremacy is more than just it's a mindset.
Yeah. It's more than the KKK showing up here at your front lawn.
It's a mindset. So
so you think we gotta reprogram ourselves? We're just basically like, the miseducation of Negro. We gotta, everything we learned back in the day, we gotta like intentionally be like, nah, that's not it. That's not the move.
Yeah,
unlearn and rethink. I mean, it's important. Like you said, like it's a badge of acceptance now. Like, yo, we're in this society, right? Like, if I won a Grammy or won the Oscar, it's like now I have this badge of, like when something happens, it's like Grammy nominated award. You know what I'm saying? Person, but it's like if we use Jay, and he's a prime example. Like that was when we were trying to think of a title when we talked about it. It was like, yo, save all the accolades, just the dough. Like save all the accolades. Y'all can keep all that. Like my project is a classic. My community gonna make sure that they say it is. They're gonna stamp it as that. Let's see what the economics is behind that project. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
That's real. So do you think that we can get to the point to where we can build our own like award show and we think it's just as worthy? Like, do you think we can build an equivalent of an Oscar, of a Grammy? And like people that look like us actually support it and think that that's the highest of award.
I think we have tried to, right? Whether it was the Soul Train Awards or it was the BET Awards, it's just that the mindset's not there, right? People are not going to view it the same. It's not put on it's put on syndicated television, right? So like, I look at like ABC, like every 4 months they put on a country music award, and I look at it, I'm like, yo, that could, why is that never hip hop? You know what I'm saying? When they'll say like, oh, we have the viewership to support it. You know what I mean? It's just about the mindset. We got to change our mindset to realize like, yo, the things that we're doing are equally as important, if not even more important. Because our culture is American culture. If you look at what the kids listen to, if you look at how they dress, the way they talk, it is American culture.
I mean, I don't think it's going to happen until everybody views themselves equal to a white person. Like, it's like you can have the same rights as a white person, but the vast majority of people, I don't say the vast majority, but a lot of people still don't view themselves equal to white people, whether they admit it or not. Subconsciously, they don't, and the actions speak for themselves. So, it's like they don't have to say that they think white is better, they do it in their actions. So, like I said, I never heard a rapper brag about having a black lawyer, but you hear rappers all the time brag about having Jewish lawyers.
Yeah, you got a Mishka, you got a Jewish lawyer. No, that's real. So that's interesting. I can actually seg that way into this question. A lot of people think white is right. Um, do you think that also carries on into how can I say this without being controversial? um, do you think that also goes into subconsciously how we pick a mate, even like obviously we know we deal with colorism and stuff like that, but do you think that, you know, even in the things that we listen to in terms of hip hop, you got people like, oh, I got the foreign chick, I got the, you know, I got the Becky and stuff like that. So do you think subconsciously, even how we, a lot of our black men pick their mates, like it's subconsciously like they just think it's superior. Like you don't graduate, you really ain't made it until you got that trophy wife that's not black. And shout out to you, Troy. You got a black queen. I love that black love. But yeah,
my family's from Jamaica, so colorism is a real thing, right? And
yeah,
it's been indoctrinated in us, right? Like the images of beauty growing up. There was no Lupita Nyong'os when I was growing up. You know what I'm saying? It was like the fair skinned women was beautiful. So like, yo, I like Vanessa Williams. I like Halle Berry. And as you grow and you start seeing more images, it's like you see the world more. It's like, all right, this is beautiful too. But you got to remember, we 80s babies. So like Barbie dolls was the images for young girls, right? The toys were like G.I. Joe. Like we weren't portrayed in the light of beauty, right? Look, I think, who was it? Tyra was, oh no, or maybe Naomi Campbell was
yeah,
the first model to be like portrayed on the cover of Vogue. You know what I'm saying? Like we're talking about in the 90s. It's for the first time swimsuit did, and Sports Illustrated as well. It's like now that shift changes and it's like, all right, like, this is beautiful too. So it has, like I said, its mindset is what's been indoctrinated of what beauty looks like. But in this generation, I think that's changed a little bit. I think there's all types of beautiful, and people are starting to be recognized that as that.
so I'm a huge Dame Dash person. Like I said, I grew up on Rockefeller, and that's one of the. But that's neither here nor there. But anyway,
We go.
but
Love Rockefeller.
yeah. So I wanted to ask, do you think that the whole I lost my place here. Hold on, I'm gonna edit that part out. Hold on. I won't, let's go into the current state of the NBA. So, are you guys familiar? Obviously, you know what's going on with the league right now. The disconnect. So, I'm an NBA agent, and I find it very interesting that the way that Kyrie Irving is being portrayed right now in the media. So with the whole player coalition, a lot of people aren't familiar, but you know, a lot of guys in the league, they want to get back to work. They want to play in the midst of COVID-19, in the midst of, you know, what's going on right now racially and the protests. But you got this other side, Avery Bradley, Kyrie Irving, and other players that's saying, wait a minute, you know, in the light of what's going on right now, we don't necessarily want to be a distraction to, you know, race relations and us trying to fix what's wrong in America. If we do go back to work, here's what we want done. You know, we need the NBA to do this. We need our owners to do this. Do you think that the way that it's playing out in the media right now, it seems as though it's being very divisive? Do you think that, do you resume the season?
You kind of broke up a little bit.
Yeah.
Do we think they're gonna resume the season? You said?
Do you think the league should resume the season?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess they yeah. I guess the league, as the league standpoint, it's like, you know, they're business and they're trying to run their business. So if they have an opportunity to finish out the business calendar, which is the season, I don't see why they would not do that. Now, whether the players want to play or not is a little different conversation. But I think that the league should end the season and try to, you know, salvage it the best that they possibly can.
Yeah, I think they've made accommodations to make sure that happens. But I hear both sides. I hear Kyrie's point of the like, yo, how many years are we going to be just entertaining? I hear that point. But like you said, there's a business that's being run, and you're an employee of that business.
So, but from a micro level, with Kyrie and some of the Players Coalition, actually they had John Carlos. I heard was on one of the calls, the Zoom calls with the Players Union. For those that's not familiar with John Carlos, him and Tommy Smith actually in 1968 Olympics during the ceremony, they was the guys that held up the fist or whatever and protest. So, being that from a micro level, what Kyrie is trying to do, or what he says they're trying to do you think that this can be bigger than basketball? And like, I would love to see LeBron, see my guy get a fourth ring possibly. All of us would like to see them back playing basketball, but from the grand scheme of things, if the players is really riding, like we put our foot down, you know what I'm saying? We are culture. We make this league run. The NBA is 70% black. But that being said, the initiatives that they put on the table, and Kyrie I hear is saying that, we can start our own league. Now we familiar with the Negro leagues. We familiar, like the NBA is 70% black. Do you think now is actually the time where they can actually be like, you know what? If y'all not gonna give us our initiatives, we can walk away from all of this. You know what I'm saying? Now, millions of dollars is a lot to walk away, and everybody not getting Kyrie type millions. Mm-hmm. But do you think it's realistic that, the players absolutely can start their own league? You know what I'm saying? If LeBron walked away right now and it's like, you know what? I mean, I doubt he does it, but it's wishful thinking, right?
Yeah, I mean, Ice Cube has a league.
Yeah, the big three is real league.
So the blueprint is there, whether it's a 3-on-3 league or 5-on-5 league. I mean, even if there's a lot less people that tune in, if you keep 100% of the revenue, it might equal out to what you're getting paid as a player. So, I mean, why not? I'm not going to discourage somebody from being an entrepreneur. That's really what they try and do if they are serious about doing that, is being an entrepreneur, and not being an employee. So,
I think they got to work together to do it. I mean, it's you know what I mean? Like LeBron is on the tail end of his career, but you got to have a vision of young players that are willing to do that. I think from an ad standpoint, a revenue standpoint, the talent is the most important thing. People don't go to NBA games to see the owners. They don't go to see the GMs. They go to see the talent. So if the talent's not there, people will go where the talent is. So, I mean, they got to, if they're serious, if they have a plan about it, can it happen? Yeah. But this is a time for change. I mean, whether it's the NBA, whether it's Mikey Williams, who was thinking about going to a HBCU rather than a high-level D1 school.
He should come on this way to HU. It's only one Mecca. Come on to Howard, baby. Come to Howard.
I mean, that changes the dynamics of college athletics, right? Like, now this is as valuable. Now ESPN has to come. All these networks have to come to these HBCUs. Now money gets generated for these HBCUs. That changes it. And it can be an age of the change, and it's a time right now, and you can feel it in the air. You can feel it in the temperature of the country. There's a movement happening that is going to spark a lot of change.
That's interesting. You said that. So do you think that we are in a time to where us as a people in general, the majority of us are learning the actual worth of our talent? Like, I always get on people like, as a Black agent, people always want to go to the white power structure. And I appreciate guys like LeBron that's changing that narrative. But, for the most part, guys still feel like, their deal not going to be done right unless a Jewish or a white power structure, CAA or XL is doing their contracts. But my question to you guys is, do you think that narrative is changing to where we're trusting each other, to where we're realizing our own worth, until we're realizing like, I am the money maker? You know what I'm saying?
Well, I hope so. Like you said, what LeBron's doing is transcending. Mm-hmm. I applaud his team and everything that they do, because it's a blueprint that hopefully people will follow. There'll be talent that will come, and hopefully they'll have the type of talent LeBron has, and then hopefully have the type of vision and power that he has. So it can spark change if people follow the blueprint.
Right. Okay, cool. So, you guys did you hear the J. Cole track that released today?
I did listen to it. Yeah.
Nah, I ain't hear it.
I listened to it.
Rashad, you ain't hear it? Okay. But okay, just to fill you in. So the track was met by a lot of resistance and controversy on Twitter. I'm not sure.
I'm trying to figure out why. What was the resistance? I listened to
I appreciated the track. You know what I'm saying? I guess they felt like J. Cole didn't necessarily read the room in terms of the current state of what's going on in terms of, I feel like a lot of times us as a people, we can be some light skin, not only light skin versus dark skin, black male versus black woman, straight versus gay. So I guess black women were feeling that. So basically, essentially, he came at this. I wouldn't even say he came at it. It wasn't an attack, in my opinion. So it was this black woman activist. Her handle is No Name on Twitter, and she has a large following. And he didn't even name her by name in the track, but basically, he said that from her activity on Twitter, he came across something one day and he took offense to her tone. He felt like her tone was kind of abrasive and kind of like defeating her intent and purpose. And basically, he was saying that, instead of you having a superiority complex, and I wouldn't even say that. He basically was saying that instead of you being so strong, that's not going to help you reach who you really need to reach. That's actually going to generate resentment. So then Black Twitter, a lot of Black women were saying that, who are you to tell us to tone down? And, during this time, you want to attack Black women, put that energy elsewhere. Then you had Chance the Rapper come out and say, oh, I hated that he put out this record. Actually, I got the tweet that Chance put out, and I just felt like he instigated. Troy, did you?
I ain't hear.
Yeah, I mean, if you listen to the beginning of it, I felt like he was taking a step back and like, listen, man, I need to educate myself more. I need to be more aware. I'm not the typical leader, right? Like people are waiting for my actions. I'm like, he's just like, yeah, I'm trying to.
Yeah, he said, I don't even read. Like y'all looking at me.
Yeah, like I'm not a leader. Like I'm not the leader that you're looking for. Like I'm here trying to educate myself so I can become that. And there are people that you actually should be looking at like, yo, they are leaders, not because I'm a celebrity. I'm automatically a leader. That's what I mean. I didn't even check Twitter. I didn't really see the resistance to it, but I guess
people was mad.
Perspective is key.
So we in this cancel culture, and now people trying to cancel J. Cole. I'm like,
Cole?
are y'all serious?
Nah, they can't cancel Cole.
Right?
Cole's needed.
Absolutely. And my thing, like similar to what Dave Chappelle just said in his special 846. If you haven't checked that out, definitely check that out.
Powerful.
Yeah, right. And he was just saying, like, y'all want to hear from celebrities. What the hell you need to hear from me for? The people was in the streets, like that's the movement right there. Like, and I feel like I respect that. That's real. And like when we say we want to hear from Kendrick and J. Cole, it's like, but they gave us all this content for years and y'all wasn't trying to hear it. So now
and Cole was in the street. So when Mike Brown was murdered, J. Cole was right in Ferguson.
Right. And he's in the streets now protesting.
Exactly. He's in the streets when they had the protest in Fayetteville. He was there with Dennis Smith. They were in the streets. So I'm not really sure where it's coming from. Shout out to Cole.
Yeah, shout out to Cole, man. Cole is needed. But I just want to read what Chance the Rapper said. He said, and this is regarding J. Cole's new track, he wasn't even going at the artist, but whatever. So he said, everybody's...
Snow on the Bluff is called?
Yeah, Snow on the Bluff. That's the name of the track. So he said, everybody's argument on either side is we can't personally attack each other if we really want to see a revolution. I can agree with that and can apply it in my own life. I wish we could learn that without two artists I admire having a public dispute. Then he said, they both my peoples, but only one of them put out a whole song talking about how the other needs to reconsider their tone and attitude in order to save the world. It's not constructive and undermines all the work No Name has done. It's not Black women's job to spoon feed us. We grown. So Chance actually took a real strong take to he showed us how he feels about J. Cole's track. But I'm gonna let y'all go listen to it again. But yeah, so my question to you guys, I don't know if you've been looking at the current climate of Twitter, but a lot of people are suggesting, Black women in particular are kind of upset with the coverage that Breonna Taylor has been getting as opposed to their Black male peers that's lost their lives at the hand of police. So I guess that's where it comes from. They was just saying, you know, you didn't need to read the room. Like, it's not black women you need to be attacking right now. Even though I didn't take it as an attack, I guess I'm trying to see where black women are coming from. But my question to you guys is, do you ever feel that it's a disconnect between black men and black women?
In what regards?
Like, in this terms of like, it's a, like, do you feel like we in a race to who's the most oppressed?
Oppressed or impressed?
Oppressed.
I mean, I feel like you know, all of that goes back to Willie Lynch. You know what I mean? If you really study Willie Lynch syndrome, it was more than, it was a lot. It was like pin the old versus the young, pin the light versus the dark, pin the men versus the women, and we still kind of suffer from that a lot today. And I feel like, you know, a lot of you know, sometimes issues is not really an issue, it's just a misunderstanding, or it's like, you know, and it's like it kind of gets blown out of proportion. Like even this, I don't really know the young lady, no,
No name.
no name.
No name.
I haven't listened to J. Cole's song, so I don't know, but I'm pretty sure that, you know, they probably, Twitter probably threw gasoline on it and made it even worse than what it even was. And I don't think it should be even a competition of like, or a comparison of like who gets the most media coverage or whatever. It's like if a man gets media coverage, like it's ultimately the same thing ultimately. So I feel like a lot of times in the black community, a lot of times with women and men, and it's like you know, women have really been pushed in the forefront. A lot of times men have been pushed outside of it. Like even if you look on TV, like it's very popular to see a woman on a network television show, but her counterpart, the person that she's with, is a white man. You don't really see too many black men a lot of times. So I think that that's done on purpose. And now there's some resentment, I think. And so I think that, you know, it's a balancing act between a man and a woman. A man is not a woman and a woman is not a man. They both have equal roles to play. None is superior to each other. But I think a lot of times, you know, especially in the black community, it's a push to try to put one over the other, or especially, like I said, I mean, a lot of people feel like women are being pushed in the forefront or pushed ahead of men to speak and to be the forefront of movements and things of that nature. So it's a very complex conversation. I don't want to offend anybody, but
now we honor our black women. We love our black women.
No, it's all love.
I think it's important to just have, you know, we got to understand that, like I said, everybody has an equal role to play in society, and we can't discourage and we can't dismiss men.
We got to work together. At the end of the day, we all want the same thing.
We can't. That's important though. We can't dismiss the role of a man, because no matter what, a man is still necessary.
Absolutely.
A man is still necessary. A lot of times, you know, like I said, especially black men, they're not seen as necessary. They're seen as like expendable. Like they're not really needed. And that's a problem. And like I said, that's done on purpose. You don't see any other community where the man is seen as expendable or not seen in the forefront of things. And that happens a lot in the black community and in the black household. So
let me ask you, so with that being said, and I agree, there's some truth to that for sure. With that being said, do you think that black women getting involved in the feminist movement has helped contributed to pushing black men into the shadows? My bad, I didn't mean to get too deep.
I mean, you know, it's a lot. It's a lot. Cause a lot of these movements, you gotta see like who's really behind all of these movements, right? It's like it's always a play behind a play, and it's like, what is the alternative motive here? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what are we really doing? Like, what are we? So it's like something might start out as good intentions, then you find out like, all right, well, this person is behind it, and this person has a alternative motive, and they trying to like, oh, so it's like, wow, like, you know, so I feel like true feminism, and this, my opinion, I'm a man, so I'm not speaking for women, but true feminism is not speaking down on men. True feminism is just, you know, empowering women, and any man should be a feminist. Any man should want to empower women. Nobody should want to suppress women or, you know, look down on women or beat women or anything like that. We're not advocating at all. But there are some, you know, at any level is extremists. There's extremists in religion. there's extremists in every area, and there's extremists in men, and there's extremists in the feminist movement. There's some extremists that you know, want to eliminate the role of a man, especially the black man. It's like, you know, you don't need it. Like, you're not needed. I could do this by myself. And that's something that has been extremely detrimental to progress of black people for a long time. So I think that black men in leadership positions are needed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Okay.
it goes back. And when you mentioned Jim Crow, I was like, well, I mean, and the mass incarceration is the new Jim Crow, right? So when you take these type of figures out of homes, out of families for decades after decades, then women are forced to be the leaders of the household. And so like that, you know what I mean? Like that systemic thing changes the dynamic of how our communities look. And now the roles look different. You know what I'm saying? It's all part of a bigger picture.
Right. Okay. So do you think that I want to go back to some of the stuff you guys be talking about in your episodes. I'm like, dang, I didn't even know that. Y'all got like a subscription to Forbes or something? Because some of the stuff y'all be knowing, like, damn, I thought I knew a lot about the culture and about behind the scene plays and stuff. But I was like, these brothers got me beat. Like, I was listening to this one episode recently. I think it was early. And yeah, it was an early episode. And y'all was talking about Snapchat. And you got off into what's the guy's name? He's older. Madoff.
Bernie Madoff?
Yeah, Bernard Madoff. You know, was talking about that. I was like, oh shit, I didn't know nothing about this. How y'all got some type of subscription? I need in on that or something. Like, how y'all be knowing all this stuff behind the scenes and stuff?
The secret. Nah, I read a lot. We read a lot. Like
yeah.
That's the secret, to be honest with you. We just really read a lot, and I think that we need to encourage people to read whatever they enjoy. Like I say this all the time, man. If people ask me how many books I've actually read, I could probably count on my hand. But if you ask me how many publications and articles and pieces of writing I've read, I couldn't count. And a lot, you know what I'm saying? Like when you're in school, it's always like, yo, did you read, how many books did you read this summer? Like right now, our kids are getting summer reading books. And it's like, nah, don't discount the actual process of reading, right? If I'm reading ESPN magazine, I'm reading. If I'm reading Business Insider, I'm reading. If I'm reading Bloomberg or Black Enterprise, that is also reading. Yeah, it's not a novel, but you're still practicing the article. So that's the secret ingredient. We read a lot.
Shout out to reading.
Yeah. For sure. It's an acquired practice, and it takes work. You got to learn how to have endurance. You got to learn how to have stamina, just like you do with anything else. Once you start the exercise of reading, you got to keep going at it, and as you do it more, your endurance will grow, your stamina will grow, your understanding and your comprehension will grow.
That's real. And you know what? It's nobody wants to be that stereotype. You know, I'm sure you guys have heard the saying. They say, if you want to hide anything from a black person, you put it in a book. And that's not the truth, man. You got to read.
Yeah, I remember him saying that though.
Yeah. So I want to get back into Hove. So Hove aligned with the NFL last year. It was met by a lot of criticism. What's your guys' take on that? You know, of course, we know Jay once said that I said no to the NFL. You need me, I don't need you. And then like the next year, you know, he formed that organization and initiative with the NFL. So his take is that, you know, no real change is gonna, like, protesting is cool, you know, kneeling is cool, but at the end of the day, we need real actionable measures. So with that being said, he seems to think that, and I feel like that's something him and Dame always disagreed on as well. But he seems to think that, from my perspective, it seems that he thinks that aligning with the power structure, he's going to make change within, you know, which can be true, but what's your guys' take on that?
I think Jay means a lot to our culture, and a lot of stuff that he's done probably goes unknown and unwritten about, but he's extremely important. And so when he made that move, I didn't judge it for it. I was just like, yo, there's something bigger. He's a visionary, and he's shown us that plenty of times. So like, why wouldn't I just give him the benefit of the doubt this time? You know what I'm saying? A lot of people say he's an opportunist. That may be true as well, but again, he's made change throughout our communities numerous times and has gone unnoticed. I just saw the other day that they had posted that he had put a college fund for Sean Bell's children who are just now graduating from high school. Like, never knew that, and like 15 years later, that comes about. So, like I said, he's important to our community, but he's not the voice of our community. He's just a person in our community that is a high-profile person. So, you know, I didn't expect anything crazy that would come out of it. Like I said, I'm gonna give Jay the benefit of the doubt because
For sure.
he's done right by our community. That's all.
Yeah, he deserved that. He's earned his leisure.
Yeah, it is. It is. Until he gets there, we're gonna keep talking about it. Everybody says, yo, y'all talk about Jay a lot. I say, yo, we're gonna keep talking about him until he's sitting next to him.
No, facts. That's real. That's real. Or at least, you know, no, that gotta happen. That gotta happen. I'm gonna holler. I know Emery, so that should definitely, that would be dope. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Emery be dope too. Emery be like the whole Rockefeller team, like all of them. Emery obviously would be dope. We ran into Diggs a few times. I worked on getting him on.
I mean, we should, if I'm, you know, I think we should be able to get all those guys on because when you look at it, it's like, you know, I was looking at Forbes and CNBC and all that. And they, like, whenever they do an interview with an entertainer and all that, they have like a black correspondent do the interview, Fox. But they don't own the company. They employed by Forbes or by Fox or by MSNBC. So we we own our company. Own your leader.
No, yeah, y'all on your way. Y'all on your way for sure. I know y'all already got in front of those eyeballs. If not, it's coming.
If they want to support it,
Uh-huh.
it'll be highly welcome. But I think I think that they should support.
Yeah, I mean it's the Rockefeller blueprint, right? They wouldn't give him a label, he created his own.
Yeah, for sure. So let's talk more about EYL. Like I mentioned, I'm a part of. First of all, I'm always repping. I be like, have you guys listened to Earn Your Leisure? Yo, you gotta listen to. I'm always sharing and plugging y'all stuff. But let's talk about the movement in the university. Can you talk a little bit about the intention behind the university?
Yeah, so the university kind of came about. We were doing interviews so much, and it felt like people were just laying their blueprints out of their business. And so it felt like, these people were not just guests, they were professors. And so every time they would leave, we would just be like, yo, this is a family, this is a community. You're an alumni now. Like, you have graduated from Earn Your Leisure. Like, that was the thing. And so once we started saying, yo, you're an alumni, you graduated, and welcome to the alumni, we kind of was like, yo, this is a university. And so we had the vision like, yo, we need to turn this into an online situation where people can actually go back, because a lot of times people listen to an interview and they want more. When it was like, well, what if we got some of those guests to come back and give more on an online platform? And so that kind of birthed EYL University. And now it's turning into something that is just the biggest community now. So like we got like 70 different webinars on there. We got a private Facebook group. We have a movie club on there. We have a breaking bread session with Matt, MG the mortgage guy, who's a real estate dynamo. He's blown up crazy after partly being on our show and partly just pouring into content that he's putting out. So it's like a whole community now, and it's just growing. Every day we get new members. We get the feedback from the impact that it's making, which is really the fuel, right? Because like we can see that it's changing people's lives. And so once we know that that's happening, it's like now, we got to double down and keep going because the impact is there and it's needed.
Yeah, shout out to Market Mondays too.
Oh, yeah. The Market Mondays is crazy.
Yeah.
Shout out to Ian.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like a lot of times we just get these innovations like, yo, let's just do this. And that's the beauty of being independent. It's like, we don't have to ask somebody. Like, it's like, yo, you want to do it? You want to do it? All right, let's do it. If it works, great. If it doesn't, all right, well, let's try to readjust to see how it does work. So we get to bounce ideas and come up with new ideas. And like, that's the beauty of it. It's like, nobody can tell us no. You know what I mean?
Respect.
Yeah.
For sure.
You're not asking favors.
That's real. That's real. Rashad, was you about to say something?
No.
Okay. I wanted to, and I know we're coming up on an hour here. I wanted to ask you guys about your take on, your opinion on, I know you had an episode before about the 360 deal, and that made me think of, because I've always been someone, like, we still signing deals, you know what I'm saying? Like, why are we doing that, right? So if you look at people to the magnitude of like a Drake or Beyonce, they drop albums, mixtapes out of nowhere, you know what I'm saying? And Dame is a real advocate for going direct to consumer. is it really necessary? Now, I know I said Drake and Beyonce, they're the mega stars, but even from it's so easy. I won't say it's easy. Social media has made it more accessible and easier to go direct to consumer. So with that being said, is there any need anymore for that machine? You know what I'm saying? Why are we still signing deals? Is it just that? And I was listening to the Pull Up podcast with Joe Budden and Wale was just saying like, I need it. I want that money. You know what I'm saying? I need that push. It's like, is that being lazy or do you really need it?
I don't think you need it, but I feel like, to each his own. There's opportunities, I guess, to sign with a major.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest artist is still with major labels. Drake still with a major label.
Mm-hmm.
Post Malone, all of these guys still with major labels. So there's opportunities, and obviously they're making a boatload of money. So, but I don't necessarily think that you need it.
Mm-hmm.
But it probably definitely helps as far as visibility, pushing it on radio and stuff like that. But I guess, depending on which side you look at it, it's all about perspective.
Yeah, this is an internet generation, so a lot of stars have been made on the internet and been made on Instagram. So yeah, it's perspective. It's about really how many eyeballs you can get on you and how much you're offering to the genre, really.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So who the greatest rapper of all time? I know it's Pac's birthday yesterday. Who the GOAT?
The greatest of all time?
Greatest of all time. Or give me your top three. I'll make it less difficult.
All right. Jay.
Okay. Hold on. Is this in order?
I always say Jay's the greatest rapper of all time.
Okay.
I think Pac is the most influential rapper.
Okay.
All things encompassing, I think Jay. Nas, and it's tough. How do you say Pac without Big? I don't know if that is that allowed?
Yeah, that's of course. It's not.
I'll say Big.
Not a package deal.
I'll say Big. I mean,
that's very New York of you.
Yeah. It's more fitting. But if you could see, like we got an album, or Pac is on my album, he's one of my favorite artists. They're not; those are, I think, the best. But my favorites, Wayne would be in there. Is one of my favorites. Beanie Siegel's one of my favorites of all time. Drake is one of my favorites. Kendrick, Ye. We got favorites, and then we got the best.
Okay, I just had this conversation with my brother. Let me ask you.
Yeah.
Beans or Jadakiss?
Siegel, easy. Siegel. We played that. Well, I'm gonna let him give his three, and then I'll tell you about the Siegel joint.
Okay.
Yeah, my three. I guess the three greatest. That's a mix, I guess, between opinion and like popularity. So I say for me the greatest, Jay, Nas. I throw Drake in there. For the greatest. Yeah.
Okay. That's okay. Top greatest.
Yeah, he belongs in the conversation.
So, but let me ask you this though. Being that y'all some '80s babies like myself, so y'all are hip hop purists. Being that Drake's pen is questioned, does that not matter?
Nah,
I think it definitely matters. But I feel like it definitely matters. But there's still, we don't know how much of that
is accurate.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like he wrote maybe 95% of the stuff that he put out, and maybe 5% he didn't write.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, his work ethic and his body of work cannot be denied, no matter what the situation is. His consistency is amazing.
You've never seen it.
And hate it or love it, when Drake put out a song, it's going to number one.
That's real.
Can't miss.
I say this when people talk about his pen. I'm like, yo, he wrote his biggest hits after that incident. You know what I'm saying? So like, God's Plan came after that. Nice for What came after that. I guess.
But do we know for a fact he wrote it?
Yeah. I remember when you used to read the credits. I read the credits.
I don't know.
That's the whole point of a ghostwriter. They don't appear.
Yeah. Aubrey Graham is one of the greatest. We've never seen a run like his. I know, like, we grew up on Jay, and Jay has made some amazing albums, but we've never seen a level of consistency that Drake has. And he's not even 35. He's not even in his mid-30s yet. You know what I'm saying? So like,
right. No, that's real.
Who knows what he's supposed to do?
I'm hard on Drake, but Drake in my top. He in my top 5 too. But I get a lot of flack, so I was just trying to play devil's advocate there.
The Seagull joint. Let me just say
Yeah.
the Seagull thing. Like we played that Seagull disc, like the put your hands up freestyle.
Yeah.
Play that like it was a song. Like we
Uh-huh.
literally played that as a song through our cars when that dropped. And
Mhm.
Kiss is from 914. He's from our area, and there's no disrespect to him, but Seagull, that's a classic freestyle.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
just-
I rock with Seagull. I rock with Seagull. So Rashad, let me ask you. So
Oh, he froze.
It froze up.
Dang.
I froze again.
You're back.
Yeah, he froze.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you now.
Oh, yeah. So Styles P or Jada?
Jada.
Kiss. Yeah, Kiss.
Kiss.
Okay.
Styles, I used to think Styles was better than Kiss early on.
Yeah.
But I think Kiss's consistency. Kiss has been extremely consistent for over 20 years.
Right.
He's one of the best. He's one of the best lyricists of all time.
Yeah.
He's put words together. One of the best freestyle champions ever. So
One of the illest.
yeah, I got
Kiss, one of the illest. Just one of the illest. Yeah.
So who the best player in the NBA?
LeBron.
If LeBron playing, then he's got to be the best player in the NBA.
LeBron.
I agree
Gotta-
for sure.
Yeah, again, like that's the same thing. The consistency. We've never seen consistency and excellence at this level for this long. There's never been a dude this good for this long. That's him.
No, that's right. I respect that. I think it's definitely LeBron too. What do you think? What's your take on when people say that he just don't have that killer instinct that Kobe and MJ has?
They're different players.
He's not Kobe or MJ. He's LeBron. Like none of them, but I feel like I people's always gonna make a comparison and always try to put salt on something. But I feel like LeBron is, to me, he's the best basketball player ever. That's my opinion. So I don't think you can really knock LeBron.
Yeah. I'll take the Kobe quote, rest in peace to Kobe Bean. He said he doesn't argue over things that are not definitive.
All right. Say no more. Say less. All right, brothers. Well, this has been great. You got any last minute plugs you want to do? Where can people find you on social if they want to find out more about EYL University? You got anything you want to say last minute?
Yeah, EYLUniversity.com. All our stuff is on earnyourleisure.com. So if you get a chance, check out our podcast. We're on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, social media, Earn Your Leisure across all social media handles. And yeah, EYLUniversity.com. That's our educational platform. So the merch, everything is on earnyourleisure.com. That's the mothership.
Yeah. Instagram as well as Earn Your Leisure. So hit us up.
Yeah.
Cool.
Like,
Well, brother, this has been great. I appreciate y'all time. I know y'all busy, but I just wanted to tell y'all again, I appreciate what you guys are doing for the culture. You definitely represent and all the content that you produce, and I just think it just adds value. It's definitely interesting, entertaining, all that good stuff. So I appreciate you, brothers, for sure, and I want y'all to keep it up, man. Repping for the culture.
Yeah, appreciate you having us.
Keep it up.
Appreciate it.
For sure. And this is episode 7 of For the Culture podcast. I'm your host, Tay Jordan. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at @1_Tay Jordan like Mike. That's _TAY Jordan like Mike. And peace and love. Godspeed.
Peace, yeah.